People are always chasing, not just with confidence, with happiness, with business. People think that if I achieve this thing, then I'll be happy, then I'll be confident.
She knock on my heart like knockdown ginger. Touch my heart, she gets splinter. Running Olympic sprinter for the sweet one, no lemon and ginger. Knock on my heart like yo. Knock on my heart like yo, bro. Knock on my heart like yo. Knock on my heart like yo, bro. She knock on my heart.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to increase your confidence. This is literally my most asked question that I get on Instagram. I've gone through a whole journey myself and I've learned so much along the way. See the way I am now, like people look at me now and they're like, Nelly, you're so confident. Well, I've only been this confident for the past year. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I want to start by breaking the myth between confidence being to do with looks. So many women say, I'm not slim, I'm overweight, I don't like my nose, my lips, and they have this perception that if I lose weight, if I look like this, then I will be confident. This is the biggest myth because confidence does not exist at a destination, and people are always chasing, not just with confidence, with happiness, with business. People think that if I achieve this thing, then I'll be happy, then I'll be confident. But that is not how things work. To give you an example, there will always be a woman with a bigger bum, bigger boobs. So to kind of think that if I look like her, then I'll be confident, it doesn't work that way. The thing is, more time, that girl that you're looking at, you're thinking, oh, well, if I look like that, then I'd be confident. That same girl also struggles with confidence, and she is looking at the next girl saying, well, if I look like her, then I'll be confident. So it's this never-ending cycle, and that's because confidence is nowhere near as related to appearance as people think. These same women are insecure, they're getting surgery, so it just goes to show that looking a certain way will not necessarily make you confident. So I want to start by explaining a concept that you have in psychology. I think this is part of humanistic psychology, but essentially it states that self-esteem comes from, basically you have your current self and you have your ideal self. So your current self is where you're at present, so it's how you see yourself now, and then your ideal self is who you want to be. And this theory basically says the bigger the gap between your current self and your ideal self, the lower your confidence, the lower your self-esteem will be. Whereas in contrast, the closer you get to your ideal self, the more your confidence increases. So, how do we move from our current self to our ideal self? The way we do this is through self-development. So a simple exercise is write down your ideal self. So who do you want to be? What character traits does your ideal self have? What job or business does she run? Write down everything you can think of, and then write down your current self and the current traits you have, current skills you have. You can then basically begin to compare the two and see what steps you need to take to start moving from your current self to your ideal self. And then you can put a plan in place to make sure that that happens. So cool, you know you need to get into self-development, you know what you need to do, but the reason most people struggle with confidence is because they break promises to themselves. Let me explain. For most people, they set out goals all the time. They're like, I'm gonna start gym, I'm gonna start training, I'm gonna transform my diet, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna start YouTube, all of these different things. But then what happens is they fall off or they stop being consistent, they don't follow through. This means you're breaking a promise that you made to yourself. When you break a promise to yourself, that basically decreases your trust in yourself. This basically then creates self-doubt, which then in turn decreases your confidence. And most people go around in this cycle for years, making promises to themselves and breaking them, saying they're gonna do something and then not. And this going around in this cycle over and over just decreases your self-esteem more and more and more. Does that make sense? Whereas in turn, when you do set a goal, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna start fitness, and then you follow through, you keep that promise to yourself, which shows you that you can trust yourself. You basically increase your confidence every single time you follow through. You likely are overcoming obstacles, challenges, and you break away all your fear and your limitations, and it allows you to see your own potential. The next tip I have, this is a really big one. Ask yourself, what media and information are you consuming? The biggest thing that I would ask you to look at is, who do you follow on social media? I hear so many people talking about social media is toxic, social media is negative, but I completely disagree, because you are in complete control of who you choose to follow, whether on Instagram, Twitter. You're in control of who you follow. Most people, they just follow whoever without really considering who they're following. So many women follow all of these IG models, these girls on Instagram that have had BBLs and surgery and all of this stuff done to them. This is toxic, because if you follow those kinds of people, that sets unrealistic standards of beauty, and then you're going to compare yourself to these girls who've had bare surgery, and you're going to feel like shit about yourself. But the great thing is, you're in control. So the first thing I would beg you to do is go through your Instagram, go through everybody you follow. Literally go on an unfollowing spree. Unfollow anybody who negatively impacts your confidence. Like if you know you have a tendency to compare yourself to them, or you know that looking at them makes you feel bad about yourself, unfollow them, get rid of them. There's no benefit to following them. You need to ask yourself, what value do they bring to your life? Why do you follow them? After going and unfollowing all the people that don't serve you, don't serve your self-development and confidence, I would go and seek out pages and people that do bring value and are helpful for your self-development. So that could be women that do fitness, for example, because that's a realistic standard. That is something that is achievable. You might follow mindset pages, self-development, follow these kinds of pages. And the way that Instagram's algorithm is set up is you get shown the type of content you interact with. So if you interact with fitness and self-development and that kind of content, Instagram's going to show you more and more of that content. Whereas if you're interacting and liking pictures of these gossip pages, then that's going to come up more and more on your Instagram feed. Next thing I would recommend you do, start listening to podcasts. This made a massive difference to my confidence and my overall mental well-being. I listen to podcasts every single day. Usually I listen to multiple. If I'm walking anywhere, cooking, working, I will listen to a podcast, and they are great. They teach you so many different things to do with self-development and self-awareness, and you're feeding your mind with positivity. That is going to improve your confidence. So another way that you can increase your confidence is through positive self-talk. So essentially, you need to start becoming more aware of the language that you use to talk about yourself. There's so many women, you hear them say, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I can't do this. And when you use negative language about yourself, you basically reinforce this belief. And even sometimes some people will say, oh, but I'm only joking. But your subconscious does not know the difference between what's real or not. So instead, you can use positive words when talking about yourself. So you can literally say, I'm paying, I'm buff, I'm intelligent, and over time you're gonna start to believe this. So honestly, even if you're not a confident person, if you say these positive things about yourself, even if you don't believe them at first, I promise you, over time, you're gonna start to believe it and your confidence is gonna increase. I'll literally use myself as an example. Anyone who knows me knows that I gas myself the most. I am my own biggest hype man. I don't need anybody else to compliment me or gas me, because when I get dressed up or when I achieve something, I hype myself up more than anyone else. I don't need someone to tell me that I'm beautiful or I'm this. I will literally get dressed up and I'll be like, are you dumb? Do you see how sexy I am? And I did not used to be this way. Like, I used to be that girl that was very degrading and very negative about herself. And I just started to change my language. I started calling myself a bad bitch. And now I fully embody and believe these words. So I really recommend just start becoming more conscious of the words you use. You become more conscious, then you'll be able to alter the language you use. So the next lesson I learned is treat yourself with compassion and kindness. So many women, and especially me, I used to be so harsh and critical about myself. Let's say I fell off, like a particular goal, I went off track, or I was having like a bad day. Like, you know, when it happens to literally everyone, right? When that would happen, I would beat myself up about it. I would sit there and be like, oh, why can't I just stick to it? Why am I giving up? Why can't I just be consistent? And it would just make me feel like shit. So the kind of perspective that I would advise you to adopt is treat yourself with the kind of kindness you show your friends. You know, if your friends came to you and she was like, oh, like I feel like shit, I'm not doing well, you would turn to your friends and tell her, are you dumb? You're intelligent, you're beautiful. You would never talk to your friends in the kind of negative way you talk about yourself. You need to learn to become your own best friend. So when you fall off or you make a mistake, you need to forgive yourself, because you're literally human. You're not going to be perfect. Like, you can get back on track the next day. It's not the end of the world. Like, I think as adults, we become so critical of ourselves and we set like really high standards, and if we don't meet them, we beat ourselves up. That way, you literally tear down your own self-esteem. From a psychology perspective, this often comes from childhood. If you had parents that gave you conditional love, where they set these really high standards of you need to achieve these grades, then what ends up happening is, as an adult, you then set these same high standards for yourself. It's just not productive. So you need to learn to detach yourself from your achievements. My last tip is surround yourself with people and friends who are kind and uplifting. This is key. If you're surrounded by negative family members, negative friends, like who are judgmental, who don't make you feel good about yourself, if you can, eliminate them from your life. If you can't do that, minimize the time that you spend with them, I beg, because they are doing nothing productive or helpful for your confidence. Like, my friends, they're so uplifting. I'm so blessed to have them. They tell me, Nelly, you're good energy, you're good vibes, you're funny, and this increases my confidence. Obviously, confidence is internal, but your external environment has a massive impact. So the way that you can influence your external environment is look at who your friends are, and what I talked about earlier, the media consumption, that is also part of your external environment. But be patient, it's a journey. That is it. That is all the tips I have for you guys. I hope you find some of them helpful. I will see you in the next one.